Welcome to another episode of The Profile. I'm Gary Dunn, and this is Alan McCowat. Alan's sitting in the comfy chair. Al's a Wyalla boy, aren't you, Al?
I am, so.
How are you, mate?
Good, Gary. Good to see you.
Thank you for coming in. Really appreciate
No problems.
you coming in. I know you've got lots of stories to tell me, but I'll start with where were you born?
I was born in Glasgow, Scotland in 1950.
Is it Dunfermline side or?
That's the safe side.
It's the safe side. Don't want to be a Rangers or Celtic. And you obviously immigrated to Australia like all of us.
£10 tourist, come out with the family, and we got off the boat in Adelaide and stayed in Finsbury Hostel for 6 months or so. Same place as Jimmy Barnes and all those people were dumped. And then we moved to Wyalla. My dad got a job in Wyalla with the South Australian Housing Trust. He was a building inspector in Scotland and got back into that sort of scene. So we moved to Wyalla, and I often wondered why the hell they ever brought me there. You know?
Yes.
Dumped in the middle of the desert. I just come from Glasgow, you know, a thriving city. And here I am sitting in the red dirt capital of nowhere.
I can relate to that because I ended up in the same spot.
I know you did, Gary. Yeah. There was a lot of us, wasn't there?
Yeah. Look, you were definitely an inspiration to just all the great guitar players I know, like Steve Gard, Jamie Page.
Do I pay you now?
Richard Leach? No. No, and look, we talked about this earlier, and that everyone got lessons off you.
Yeah, I did give a couple of lessons to some of those guys. I really didn't know what I was doing. But,
you must have known something because they're all great players.
They are, but I think they're great players because they're great players, not because I'm a great player. You know?
I think you're selling yourself short, mate.
No. But but that town was. It wasn't a nice place, but the guitar players and the musicians that come out of that town are incredible. Yeah, it's just for such a small place to breed these marvelous musicians. It's weird. It's really weird. Someone should write a book about that.
Yes. Yeah. Who could do that? You could probably do that.
Maybe Reg.
Yeah, maybe Reg Carson. So, because there was only, like when I was there was 30,000 people, I think, and that was booming.
That'd be about right, yeah.
Yeah, and probably now there's 20,000, or a lot of people have left. I think.
Yeah.
So,
they found that road out.
Yeah, everyone just headed to Perth as quickly as they.
I arrived there when I was like 10 years old, and it took me till I was 25 to get out of the place. I couldn't find the road, you know.
Yeah.
But I finally got out, and I came to Perth. I used to go and watch bands at the Westland Hotel.
Westlands Hotel.
The Sundowner. And I was talking to Peter Nell there one night, and he was saying, you know, if you want to make it, you got to be doing original stuff. You go to Melbourne, but if you want to work as a musician, go to Perth. There's heaps of work. And I was at that time I was in a band called Ducky Lane. And
I remember Ducky Lane.
Yeah, and we made an attempt to come to Perth. We got to Kalgoorlie, and half the guys went home because their wives were squealing. And so then we stayed in Kalgoorlie for a short time, picked up a few local guys. And then I went, Rob Watson and I went back to Wyalla to form a new band, which we still call Ducky Lane. And that's where we picked up Stevie Gard and Tony Woodward. And went Mick Donoghue on drums. Yeah. And the idea was to get the band to a really good professional level and bring it back to Perth, because we had seen what was going on in Perth.
Yes.
There's a lot of money to be made.
Yeah.
So we rehearsed this band, and we at those days in Perth, the bands had to do a floor show.
Yeah.
So we worked on this floor show, and we did that musical Tommy.
Yep.
Tony Woodward just smashed it. You know?
Yeah, he's brilliant.
And so we worked at that and really got it good. And then I said, right, boys, time to go. And the guy said, no, we don't want to go.
Because Tony ended up with Spiny Norman.
That's right.
Richard Leach.
Yeah, that's right. So I said, well, I'm not staying here. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So and Daryl Carter was our
Daryl Carter.
He was our roadie mixer. God. And Daryl said, "Oh, I'm coming with you." So Daryl and I come over in his transit van.
Yeah.
And
he's a character, wasn't he, Daryl?
Oh, he's great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
I haven't seen him for a while. still around? And
Yeah. I haven't seen him. Maybe it's been 6 months or so since I've seen him, but he's still around.
I think he was working with Keith at what's the PA company? I can't remember what they call it. Audex.
Audex, yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, just slipped my mind. But yeah, I think the last time I saw him, he was there. So.
Yeah, so that's how I ended up in Perth. Daryl and I drove over in the transit van, and on the way in, we stopped at El Cabello Blanco, the pub up in the hills. And Daryl's sister's boyfriend was playing drums in the band there. So we dropped in to say hello on the way into Perth, and I cracked a gig with the band.
What band was that?
They were called EVOL.
EVOL.
Which is love spelled backwards. It was corny.
So just go back a bit. Who was in Ducky Lane? Give me the names.
Ducky Lane. When I was in the band, I was in about the third generation of the band, and there was Keith Chambers was main vocals, John Cossack vocals.
Yes.
Mick Templeton on drums.
Mick Templeton. God.
Yeah.
There was a whole pile of Templetons.
Yeah.
I played with Dougie Templeton.
That's his brother.
And, his brother in the Lion Soccer.
Yeah. And who else? Rob Watson on bass.
Yeah.
Jim McClellan on.
Jim.
Scottish guy, great guy.
Yeah.
He was on rhythm guitar and he did all the high vocals, and myself on guitar. It was a harmony band. They had beautiful harmonies. They didn't let me sing.
was there a problem there? Or?
That was probably a good idea, because they had magnificent harmonies, and that was the lineup when we left Wyalla.
Yeah. And
then when we went back and reformed it, it was Rob Watson, myself, Mick Donoghue on drums, Stevie Gard on guitar, and Tony Woodward on vocals. That was a good band.
Yeah.
Nothing happened with it.
Not in Wyalla, but Westlands.
We had to work in Wyalla. It was great. It was John McCauley, who owned the pubs. Yeah. He actually outfitted us to come to Perth. He paid for us to get suits made and everything. Paid for it out of his own pocket because he wanted us to do well. The band didn't leave.
No.
Anyway, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing.
So, what was the inspiration in your life where you decided you were going to be a guitar player? You came from Scotland.
Yeah, well, I remember it really well.
What was the music shop in town? Sorry, before.
In Wyalla?
Yeah. I bought
Hedley Jamison's was a shop. Hedley Jamison owned it.
Yeah.
Wyalla Music Centre or something.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I was going back about my first Yamaha amp and a Coronet, I think it was. And
he used to sell like push bikes.
Yes, that's right.
One side of the shop was push bikes, the other side was guitars. And amps. Yeah. My dad bought me my first guitar out of there. It's the worst guitar that was ever made. There's never been one that bad made since. It was disgusting, but I persevered. Yeah. And then he bought me an electric guitar. He used to dangle carrots and say, if you get A grades in every subject, I'll buy you this.
What school did you go to?
I went to Christian Brothers College, St. John's.
Yeah. Oh, you were like...
No. They expelled me in the end.
Yeah, okay.
I got expelled because they said, I had my hair cut like a square cut, which was cool at that time, but it's supposed to be short back and sides. And they used that excuse to expel me from school. But what it was, I used to have to, Monday morning I go to school, straight up to the head brother's office and get 6 cuts of the letter strap every Monday because I didn't go to church on Sunday. Yeah. And that's what it was really about. And then when I started playing in rock and roll bands, because I started quite young, they didn't like that. They didn't like it. And they actually, what they did, you're not going to believe this is fact. They devised a subject called classical music appreciation. And it was once a week for a 1 hour period. And I was the only student in the class.
Wow.
And this brother, I don't know, he was nuts, He used to play all this classical music to me. They were trying to get the rock and roll out of me.
No chance.
Devil's music.
No chance.
Not a chance, mate. And I used to have to sit here and listen to this classical music. And it's a shame because it took me years and years and years to eventually appreciate it.
Yes.
Because of what they'd done.
Yeah.
And and they tried to brainwash me, and so eventually they found this excuse because my haircut wasn't the right style to expel me. Yeah. So then I went to Wyalla High for a short time.
Ah, that's where you met Steve Gard and Jamie Page, probably.
Well, he was probably a bit young then. He was
Right.
probably in
Right,
kindergarten.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was the only kid in Wyalla High who used to wear a red jumper.
Mm.
Yeah, and they used to say, "You need to wear a school jumper." And I go, "Oh, my mum can't afford one, sorry." So I wore this red jumper all the time.
Because Wyalla High was burgundy, I think, or something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Their
I
colours?
think it was grey with
Grey,
blue stripes or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
I had a bright red one. So it was like, what's that guy, you know, Fine Norman or whatever his name is? Fine Willie?
Oh,
Yeah, Wally, yeah. That was me with the red shirt on. Yeah. Yeah, crazy days.
okay, so what was your biggest influence in music?
Biggest influence, well, when I first started, the first thing I remember about music was I was about 7 years old, I think, in Scotland, and we used to watch the old black and white telly. On a Saturday afternoon, I think it was about 6 o'clock, they had a show called Oh Boy. And one night I was watching, I used to make little guitars, cut the shape out like this sort of shape, piece of wood, and drawing pins and rubber bands. And
Pretend you were playing it.
I'd be waiting for the show to come on. I'd be getting my legs going and getting ready. And on comes this guy with a white suit. Well, you know, it was black and white, but white suit, black shirt, white tie, and this great band behind him. And I just went, that's me. And that was Cliff Richard and the Shadows.
Wow.
And my biggest influence from them was obviously Hank Marvin,
Yeah.
who lives in Perth. And I met him a couple of times, a nice fella.
Well, Jamie Page and I, claim to fame was working on his lace sensor pickups
Is that right?
for Fender. Yeah, when Jamie and I worked at Cosmic, in the 80s,
Yeah.
Late 80s, early 90s. And
Cool.
Hank came over and everyone was like,
Oh, he's a great player.
yeah, fantastic guy as well.
Yeah, lovely guy, lovely.
Yeah. Okay, so
I've got to tell you how I met Hank.
Please, yeah, please.
I was at home. I was living in Inglewood, and I just splitting up with my current lady at the time, so I was living on my own. And so I thought I'm not just going to brood around. So I get stuck into learning some jazz. I love jazz. I was studying all this jazz stuff, and I can't read music, so I'd write out like the fret blocks and put in the dots for the chords and that. I'm sitting down there working on this stuff, difficult stuff, and the old door knocks and I open the door up, and there's Hank and another guy, and he's doing his preaching thing.
Oh, yeah.
He's Jehovah's Witness.
Jehovah's, yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, hello, my name's Hank Marvin." And I said, "Well, no,
Couldn't
you are."
believe it.
Yeah, I nearly fell.
I don't want to talk to you about Jehovah's religion, but can you come in and show me some licks?
No, and he introduced me to the other guy, and he noticed the guitar on the stand and just inside the door. He said, "That's an interesting looking guitar." I said, "Oh, come in, And he had a look, and he said, "Oh, we should sit down and have a talk." And I thought, "Yeah, okay, I'm not going to let him go now." So we went into the lounge room where I'd been working on with my stuff, and I had a Gibson 175 there.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, that's a lovely guitar. Would you mind if I ever play?"
But
I'll never watch that guitar again.
Well, he obviously knew that you knew who he was.
Oh yeah. It was pretty obvious, And he actually,
Wow, what a story.
he sat there and played my 175, and he said, he was telling me he's into gypsy jazz now, and he played some Django on it and stuff. And I'm pinching myself. This can't be true. Yeah, that's how I met Hank. Yeah.
Wow, unbelievable.
Great guy. And when he left, we had forgot to talk about the Jehovah's thing, because we were talking about guitars. And when he left, he said, "Oh, I suppose you should have one of these," and they gave me the book. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife gets angry at me when they come knocking on my door because I talk to them, and it gets quite funny. Anyway, it's another story. Yeah. So, can you run us through some of the bands? Okay, you came to Perth.
Yep.
Just some of the bands you played in, some of the people you played with.
Okay, well, the first band in Perth was at EVOL.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't remember their names. Martin was a drummer. That was Daryl's.
Yeah.
And then from there, I joined a band called Grafftti, which is a 50s rock and roll band. I just answered an ad in the Sunday Times.
Wasn't it great, the Sunday Times? Or
You know, it's magic. And I had to go over to Nullamara to this guy's place, and I didn't have my car at that time. I had an old Jag and the motor had blown, so I had to get a bloody bus out there.
Oh, wow.
So I got a bus out. I was living in Highgate then. Got a bus out to Nullamara and met up with these guys, and we sat down and they played a bit of Elvis and a bit of old stuff. It's quite easy. But I noticed that they weren't very good players, you know. And I was thinking, I'm not that keen. Then they said, we've got a gig starting in a couple of weeks, 5 nights a week at Maylands Hotel. And I thought, that sounds like me.
5 nights a week.
Yeah, that sounds like me. And I thought, okay. So I said, okay, well, when do I start? And they said, we haven't decided yet. I said, well, let's not waste time. You're going to ring me anyway. And they thought that was all right. So we cracked a few beers and I had the job. And basically what I had to do was teach them how to play each song.
Yeah.
And I had about 3 weeks to get the repertoire together. And we did that, and we were working 5 nights a week. Now, the guy who gave us the job was Nigel Van Ross.
Yep.
And he was working at the Morley Park Hotel with Tony Tyler, and his band was called Rainbow Rock Company.
Yep.
And and he was booking the Maylands Hotel as well, so he was putting us in there, in his own band in there. And he came down a few times and heard me play, and he said to Tony, you know, this guy's all right, you know. And so eventually they offered me a gig with them.
Yeah, Rainbow Rock.
Yeah, Rainbow Rock Company, which was 5 nights a week again at the
Morley Park.
Morley Park.
Because I remember that.
But it was better money.
Yes, absolutely.
And I was with them for a couple of years.
So have you always taken the role of being the person who organises everything? Because Reg Carson was telling me, you know, just how much you've helped him, and you know, you always.
Yeah, but when you got those old guys like that, you got to help them out. Yeah, no, not always. It's just the way it worked out, you know. And when I joined Rainbow Rock Company, all I had to do in that band was be a guitar player. Except they said, to get the gig, you have to sing. I didn't sing.
You can't sing?
Oh, I can now, evidently. I couldn't then. And they said, well, can you sing? And I said, yeah.
Yeah, of course you did.
And so come the rehearsal time, I had to sing a song. Oh, God. And I did that song Gold by John Stewart. Yeah. You know that one?
Yeah, yeah.
When the Lights Go Down, blah, blah, blah. And I was shaking. I was just a bag of nerves. And at the end, they said, yeah, that's cool, we'll do that. And I went, so I got the gig, you know.
Yeah.
And that was a good gig. That was, like I say, Wednesday till Sunday. I was there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And from there, I went to a band that Reg Carson had just left. It was called High Roller.
Yep.
I forgot to mention, I brought Rob Watson over from Wyalla to join Grafftti.
Yes.
And that's how he got his start.
Yeah.
Then I joined this High Roller that Reg Carson and John Lemon had just left.
Wow.
And so I jumped in, and Rob Watson was playing bass with them already.
There would have been a lot of comedy leaving the band because Reg Carson and John Lemon are funny guys.
Yeah. The band changed, obviously, when they left. They were doing a lot of disco and soul music, and we started doing different stuff, a lot of sort of late 70s, early 80s stuff, you know, or probably early 80s stuff. And in that band was Gerard Monique, awesome talent.
Yeah.
Jim Fraser on keyboards, Connell on drums.
John Connell, was it?
Connell too, he died very young. He was only about 20 years old.
Yeah.
Great drummer.
Yes.
And who else was in the band? Yeah, anyway. Oh, Jenny Ashurst was a singer.
Oh, Jenny.
And Jenny she'd come out from England. She was on the Benny Hill show over there as a dancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
well, I saw Jenny in Brisbane.
Yeah.
The other week with Greg
Great
McKay.
Chick.
Oh, wonderful
Great
person.
chick. And good singer.
Jeannie, if you're watching, because I know she does, you know. fantastic catching up with you.
No.
And Greg.
We had to do this thing. One of the songs we did in the show was it was by Racy. I think it was called "Some Girls Do," or it was one of those.
And
it had a dance sequence in it on the video clip. So Jenny said, "Let's do the dance clip." And I said, "I can't dance." She goes, "Don't worry, I'll show you." You know.
That's Jenny.
And, yeah, Jenny, thanks.
You can do anything.
So we did this song, and it's got this little dance thing where you go side to side across the stage and come back. And then I got to do this thing where she links my arms from she's on with her back to my back, and I have to flip her over like that, you know. And oh God, you know, why? How did I get roped into this? Anyway, the first night we did it was at the Hersman Hotel, and I had some Dutch courage before I went on stage. You know, about 18 beers, I reckon. And when we started off and we did the dancing, it's like this, and you're going across like this, like straight across the stage, yeah. Some girls do straight off the edge of the stage, flat my back. It was hilarious, mate. And then we got up, we finished the song. Anyway, next week we did the same thing at the Hersman, did the same show, but this time I didn't fall off the stage because I was full of confidence then. And we had people coming up saying, "No, it was better last week, man. It was so funny when you fell off the stage." And then we broke my neck, man.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So where did you go from there? Because the bands just keep going for you.
Yeah. Where am I up to? Rainbow Rock, High Roller.
High Roller.
Oh, then the Times.
Yep.
Right. We went up to Kalgoorlie and picked up the remnants of Rainbow Rock Company. Nigel had left, so we had a couple of other guys in the band. Anyway, so it was basically Tony Tyler, myself, and John Kellett. We brought John Kellett back from Perth to join us. Yeah, great drummer.
Yeah.
And we needed a bass player, and Barry Rogers had just turned up from Melbourne. He was from Bobby and Laurie Review. It's the great guy.
All right, you're dropping the names now.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a great guy, and a good bass player. Everything was basic and solid. Him and John Kellett together, what a team. And we were saying, you know, well, we really need a stronger vocal, you know, and so the name came up. Reg Carson's name came up. He was in Sydney, so somehow Barry got a hold of Reg and got him over to Kalgoorlie. And we had a gig there. We were working at the Exchange Hotel, Wednesday or Sunday. That was normal in those days.
Yeah.
And we put the band together with that lineup. And at that time, the Troubadours had just hit back in Perth and did their revival thing, and they were cleaning up. And Barry said, "Right, what we've got to do is call ourselves the Times, get back to Perth, get out of here." And we went back and become, you know, like the Troubadours and the Times, like the old days, you know.
Yeah, it was big.
And the gigs they didn't want, we took.
Yeah.
And there was, we were making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And having a good time.
Yeah.
So that was the next one, the Times, and that lasted about 3 or 4 years. After that, I went solo for a while, and did just taverns and things. And then I'd always loved the Troubadours, you know. I used to see these bands in Wyalla. They come through, the Statesmen, the Troubadours, the Kiwis, all the show bands.
Yeah.
And my favourite was always the Troubadours. I loved
Real entertainers.
Yeah.
I mean, that show band thing was
awesome. They were, and their harmonies.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Superb.
Anyway, and I'd become pretty good friends with Peter Slatter then, Slats, and we used to do a lot of daytime drinking.
Oh, mate, he used to come up to Goulburn and pinch all our drink chips. And,
it's shocking. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm doing these solo gigs, and I was working like 6-7 nights a week around Perth, you know, and making good bucks just as a soloist, doing all right for a guy who couldn't sing, you know.
Yeah.
And I got a phone call one day from Peter Bull. Peter Bull, I don't think he'd ever talked to me in his life, you know. And I said, "Oh, Pete, how you going?" He goes, "Oh, yeah. Rick Selby's leaving the band now." I said, "Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry to hear that." And he goes, we've put some names in the ring, and your name keeps coming up. So, wonder if you'd be interested in joining the band. You know, I'm jumping out of my
Yeah,
skin.
just going, oh, I'll think about it. No?
Yeah, give me 10 seconds. So yeah, so then I joined the Troubadours, and that was like one of my ambitions. So it was good, you know, and I loved the band. I really enjoyed the band, and I was in there for a short time, about 2 years. But then Basil Videlli, what happened with the Troubadours? In January we used to have a month off, and we had a kitty. So bang, when it come January, the kitty pays your holiday pay.
Yeah.
It's the only band I've ever been in that got holiday pay. So on this January, we were having a 4-week break, and I thought, because I was still doing a couple of solo gigs on the side, and Basil Videlli said, mate, I've got a gig in Kalgoorlie, but I can't do it. Would you be able to come up there for a couple of weeks? And I was on holiday. I thought, yeah, okay, I'll do that. It's good money. And I went up in there and did the solo thing in Kalgoorlie, and then those guys up there offered me all this money to relocate up there and work in the nightclub and the pub. And it was like too good to knock back, you know. And so I went back to the troops and I said, this is the dilemma, you know. Love working with you guys, but this is what I'm... It was like, you know, 2 or 3 times what I was making in the band. And they all said, mate, take it, take it.
Good on them.
And I said, well, they want me to go like now, you know, as soon as I can. And they said, well, have you got someone in mind that could replace you? That's where I rang up Jim Rossiter and got him the gig. And he was ready like in about 4 days. He'd been through the repertoire, so I was gone. I was up in Kalgoorlie. Yeah.
You know, when I interviewed Jim, he doesn't think he's a great guitar player, but I've seen Jim play some magnificent stuff.
He's good. I always looked up to him as a player.
Yeah,
especially when in his days of the 335, he pulled a good sound.
He's just a cheeky bugger, that's all.
Yeah. Oh, he's mad.
Yeah, I think I asked him how he was, and he said, none of your fucking business.
Yeah, that'd be him. That'd be Jim.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a great player. Yeah. I saw that interview and I thought, geez, what are you talking about? I remember seeing JR Band and that. Some of the stuff they were doing was great.
Yeah, absolutely. But then you interview guys like Reg Carson as well, and he doesn't rate himself, and everyone talks about him like he's an absolute genius. So.
Yeah, John Lemin's the same.
Yeah.
I think a lot of musicians are like that. Like they've got this front that they get up, and that's what you see out there, but it's a bit different behind the closed doors, you know. Yeah, we're all a little bit like, oh, am I good enough to be doing this, or you know. Yeah.
No, fair enough. Yeah, it's a constant battle, I suppose, for all of us. To a degree.
Yeah, but we get through, don't we?
Be in the moment.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to get through it, I think.
Yeah.
So okay.
What else would you do? You know?
Exactly right. You'd be lost without it, wouldn't you? It's your life. And
Kalgoorlie, right? So then I go to Kalgoorlie to do this solo gig. I'm working like just about every night, twice a night. I'm doing nightclub.
14 nights a week.
Yeah. Well, I was doing the nightclub 4 nights a week and working gigs 6 or 7 nights a week in the pubs early. So it was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, it was just mad. I was making a lot of money and just, you know, just went a bit silly, you know, drinking myself to death. And I went up there for 3 months and stayed for nearly 10 years.
Wow.
Couldn't get out of the place. And when I left, I made a fortune, really did, honestly. When I left, I had to borrow my airfares.
Wow. And
the only thing I took back with me was a drinking problem.
Was it right from drinking or 2 up? No?
Drinking. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was a mess when I got back to Perth. So I straightened myself out and thought, what am I going to do now? So I did a few solo gigs, and then I run into Reg, and I thought, let's put a band together. So we got Tony Tyler, got the old guys back, you know.
The Zodiacs?
Yeah, Zodiacs,
wow.
The reason I called it the Zodiacs was a friend of mine, my brother played in a band in Wyalla in 1963, and they were called the Zodiacs. A mob of immigrant kids.
What did your brother play?
He played bass.
Yep.
Yeah, he wasn't a great bass player. what happened was his mates were Harry Neal, Reg Birchall, and Sam, Sam the drummer, and they were starting up this band called the Zodiacs. They couldn't find a bass player, and my brother said, "Oh, I'll buy a bass." He couldn't play, but they showed him what to do, and he picked it up, you know. And they were quite a successful rock and roll band, and then things changed. He went in the Navy, and those guys went on to be the Roadrunners. But when I put this band together, I was thinking of my name. I thought, I'll call it the Zodiacs, and my brother would get a kick out of that. And I let him know. I said, I'm going to call the band the Zodiacs, and he was rapt. And so,
is he in Wyalla or here, or your brother? Or?
At the time, he was in Adelaide. Yeah, he's not here anymore either.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you can ring that bell if you like.
Yeah.
He's not with us anymore. But he got a buzz out of that, you know. And since then, the band's been going ever since. The band's still performing now.
So you're doing every Friday at the Osborne Park Bowling Club?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got 3 different bands that I rotate.
Yeah.
I've got the Zodiacs, Chubby and the Checkers, and Rosie and the Checkers.
Oh, Rosie from Cosmic?
Yeah. The Checkers is a 4-piece male band, and Rosie and the Checkers is the same band with Rosie up front.
Yeah.
Roz as we know.
Yeah, Roz. I'd love to come and see it. She's a beautiful person, always smiling.
Yeah, it's a good little band. But the bands that play there, we play for the dancers. So you're not going to get a great musical experience out of it. We're just playing rock and roll music that they can dance to. So it's really not about the music, it's about the dancers.
Yeah.
But what we do try and do is play that rotten old stuff as best we can. You know? Yeah. I shouldn't say rotten old stuff.
No,
it's just been, it's all been done before, but we try and play it as best we can to keep it interesting.
So, moving sideways a bit, have you had other jobs throughout your life apart from being a musician? Or?
Yeah. When I started off, I left school, I did the brickies labourer for a while. Didn't like that much.
No.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, mate. And the bricks on your fingers,
yeah,
fingers.
Horrible.
Then you got to do a gig. There's bits of grit in there. Nah.
No.
Then I got a gig in a menswear shop in Wyalla, Troy Menswear, and I was there from 18 till 21.
Much easier on the fingers.
Oh, it was a great job, and all the latest gear, you know.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it. When I turned 21, I got married just straight after I turned 21. And my wedding present from Troy Menswear was, I think it's 3 weeks holiday pay, 3 weeks bonus for being married, and the sack.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I turned 21, full wages.
Ah.
It was pretty pathetic, you know. I'm getting married, no job, so.
Wow.
So.
How long did that marriage go for?
Oh, we stayed married for about 18 years, I think. Yeah.
But you obviously had a job. You got a job eventually.
I was playing music mainly after that. I did a little bit of sales work, you know, but it was mainly music. Wyalla was thriving in those days. I was playing in every band in town, you know. And so I was getting work playing music, yeah. Until we came over here, yeah. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing the Zodiacs. Rosie, the Checkers.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of really good bands together that play sort of jazzy blues. One is Bloozology.
Is that at the Blues Club on Tuesdays you play?
Now and again, yeah. The blues clubs, it's very hard to get a gig there. You got to, you know, you have to sleep with Rick to get a gig, you know. And all the guys have...
A man of steel.
All the guys have said, well, no, it's not my turn again. You know? so Bloozology, and I've got another band called Alan McCowat Band, which is a bunch of younger cats playing in it. And that,
is that Paul Cush? Did you play with Paul or no?
Alan McCowat Band is, I hope I can remember their names. Sam Pettit on drums, Mark Gale on bass, Ivan Shaw on keyboards. Who else is in the band? Paul Millard on sax.
All right, yeah.
I'm on guitar, and Paula Otomosho, I think is how you pronounce it, on vocals as well.
Yeah.
And that's it. like we get one gig every 2 years or something
Yeah.
at the Blues Club. Yeah, but it's a good band.
Well, at least
and
you don't-
Bloozology is just awesome.
At least you don't have to sleep with Rick too
No.
often. So.
No, that's no. I'm not willing to do that again, Rick. Yeah. But I still want a gig.
So, what's your favourite band of all time?
Oh, Jesus.
It's a hard question, isn't it?
Yes. I'm really into jazz. I love
Yeah.
jazz. You know, it's like at home, that's what I listen to. You know, I play rock and roll or blues or country, whatever you want, but at home I listen to jazz. And I like that sort of mainstream stuff. I like Joe Pass and Wes Montgomery and all those guys.
Yeah, Joe Pass.
My favourite band, Too
Yeah.
Hard.
Too hard?
Yeah.
Okay, the favourite album you would take to a deserted island, if you know, what album would it be that you would
Only
just-
one?
Yeah, only one.
Shit. Okay.
It could be a compilation, you know.
Probably Jimmy Smith, .com Blues.
Okay. First time I've heard that one.
That's a great album.
Yeah.
You should listen to it.
Yeah, yeah. I did many years ago.
Yeah, great album.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably that one, or there's a few others.
Yep. No, we won't worry about those. Okay. So your favourite TV show growing up? That's an easier question, isn't
Do
it?
I say it?
Go, just do it, you know. You can say F-Trip if you
Yeah,
want.
it is
Most
F-Trip.
people do.
Yeah, F-Trip was the one. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. What did you like mostly about F-Trip? What?
Agarn.
Yeah.
He was great.
I liked, was it Palmerston? What was his girlfriend's name?
Oh, yeah, she was pretty hot.
She was hot.
Yeah. But, yeah, she was hot.
Yeah.
Melody, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Melody
with
Patterson?
With the
Yeah, something
big
like that,
tails
yeah.
and
But Agarn was hilarious.
yeah, absolutely.
You say, you know, Agarn, I don't know why people say you're so dumb. Yeah, later on, they go, who says I'm dumb?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's a
He
good
was
show.
dumb as shit, wasn't he? Anyway, so we got this guitar here,
Oh, yeah.
and we'd love you to sign it. We're
Sweet, yeah.
gonna give it a well. We're gonna raise some money on telethon.
I'll sign underneath. So no one
Yeah,
can see
I got a white pen for you, Al.
Good man.
You're next to some famous names.
Am I?
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of them on there.
They're like me. They can't write very well either.
Thank you. We're going to auction it off on telethon.
Excellent.
Coming up, and hopefully we can get some money for
Good, I
for
hope
people
so.
that need the money. So, and while we're at it, we've got the Pub Legends albums, Volume 1 and Volume 2, or Volume 1 and Volume 2 there, that you can get $20 at
Cosmic?
ProCopy. Cosmic, we've
You
got
get
them.
'em at Cosmic,
Yeah,
yeah.
Cosmic. So, yeah, you work at Cosmic.
Yeah,
They say musicians don't grow old, they just work at Cosmic.
Yeah, that's right.
And I have as well. I
Yeah.
think we all have.
Yeah.
How-
I just work there as a casual couple of days a week. I enjoy it. Keeps me in the mix, and
Yeah.
I get to try out all the guitars and stuff. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I always enjoyed when I worked there. It was always good fun, good
Yeah,
music.
good people to work with. Great guys. Some great musicians work there.
Yeah, and John's been such a giver, if you like, of of any charity and how he can help in the music industry. He's
Certainly
he's got a
is,
lot
yeah.
of respect.
Yeah, we've got a show coming up. Can I mention this?
Please.
We've got a show coming up October
Storm's
13th at the Osborne Park Bowling Club, and it's for the National Breast Cancer Foundation,
Yeah,
and we're calling it Pink Friday.
Pink Friday
And,
instead of Black Friday.
And Cosmic have graciously donated a guitar to us, a pink guitar.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to raffle off on the night to raise some money for the breast cancer.
Was that October 13th?
October 13th. This probably won't be out by then, but it was a great show.
I love it. I love that. Okay, what's the best Perth band you saw live? Is that a hard question?
Manteca,
Manteca?
definitely.
Yeah, great answer.
Without a doubt.
yeah.
They were awesome.
Yeah,
They're still a great band. I'm talking about the original guys, but
yeah,
currently Manteca are a great band too.
yeah,
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 yeah, definitely.
yeah. Always ahead of their time. So, Al, what does the future hold for you?
about probably the same as the past, I'll say. Just keep
More
playing.
guitar and
Just keep playing, yeah.
yeah. Do you have any unfulfilled ambitions or anything that you would have liked to have done or that you still could do?
I would have liked to have made an album.
Yeah.
And I never have. I've been too busy working, playing to put any time into it. Maybe if I ever get around to retiring, I'll do that, you know.
Yeah. Slow down a bit and just...
Maybe.
Do you write a lot of songs?
No, I can't write. I can't write songs. So it'd probably be an instrumental album or an album where I get my friends to come in and sing on the album, something like that, if it ever happened.
Yeah.
It probably won't because I'm very lazy.
I think you should do it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
So do I. But yeah, okay.
Get Mark Whitehouse to give you some pointers on how to get over that. I think he would be able to help you.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you collect anything?
Yes, I do.
Tell us what you collect.
Guitars. Yeah, I've got an addiction, a guitar addiction. Yeah. And I can't resist them. Can't stop buying them.
So, what's your favourite guitar?
I think I've got a 1979 Ibanez George Benson GB20. It's one of the original series.
They had the GB10 and the GB20, didn't
yeah,
they?
the 20 is the big one.
Big
That's
one,
the one I got with one pickup on the
It's a
front.
bit thicker and
Beautiful guitar. And my wife bought that for me in those days when I was married. And she was working there. She used to work behind the bar at a tavern called Foxy Lady Tavern. Do you remember that one? Allendale Square.
Yeah.
And she used to buy lotto tickets and stuff. And we were in Musgroves one day and I saw this thing on the wall and I went, that's the best looking guitar I've ever seen. And the guy let me play it. This guy, young guy at Musgroves, and I played it. And as we were walking out, my wife said, one day I'm going to have a guitar like that, you know. Anyway, she was buying lotto tickets and she had a little bit of a windfall one day and she comes home with this great big chrome case and
because they were big square ones, weren't they?
Yeah, she's coming, it's banging and I said, what are you doing? She goes, there you go, darling. I said, what's that? And she goes, open it up. It was the GB20, you know. I've still got it, still love it. My daughter wants me to give it to her, but I said, you can have it when I'm not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful guitar, man. That's probably my favourite. Yeah.
Did you buy lots of shoes for your wife? Or she just bought guitars for you?
She just bought her own shoes.
This is round the other way here.
Yeah, she bought her own shoes, yeah.
My wife's going to kill me for that one. Sorry, Jack. So, what would you put on your gravestone?
I've been dreading this one. I have no idea. No. Thank you very much.
Elvis.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
We won't talk about Elvis. Pecco won't be happy about that, will he? So is there anyone you'd recommend to come on this show?
Yeah. I went to Peter Kamusky's 70th birthday the other day and we were talking to a bunch of the old musos. And I was talking to one guy and I told him about this and I said, you should watch it, it's great, you know, some good stuff. And he said, I will, you know, and he wasn't sure how to find it on the computer, so I said, I'll send you a link. That was Cliff Toll.
Oh, right, yeah.
Drummer and singer. And I think he's got some good stories to tell.
Yeah. Well, I'll write Cliff down here, Cliff Toll, and we'll see if I can get my producer, who is out of the country at the moment.
Yeah.
No excuse for not being here, really.
That's pretty bad.
There's no food tonight.
It's pretty pathetic.
There's no wardrobe.
No.
Thanks to my friend Sherry Hewson for the tie.
Is that
Thank you very
penis
much.
on there?
Well, they could be penises, I suppose. Little Strawny was like having a really close look. His tongue was coming out of his mouth, so I wasn't sure. I'm not sure about Strawny yet. I'm still trying to work him out.
Okay.
Yeah. Camera lens.
Yeah.
It's better than a penis.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so is there something we don't know about you, Alan, that you could share with our viewers?
Not really, not that I can. There probably is, but I don't want to start self-analysing myself in front of everybody. So no, we'll pass on that one, thanks.
Would you like to ask me a question?
Is there anything these people don't know about you, Gary?
There's a lot. Someone told him there they can't get their arms wide enough. Look, I'm a very simple person. Live a very simple life. Have a wonderful family, and yeah, that's just me.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, and love my music, and love this. I just love doing this, and
Oh, this is good fun.
And everyone that comes on the show is so nice, and has got stories to tell, and it's just really nice to be able to get to know all you guys a bit more, and
Likewise.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise.
So look, thanks.
No worries,
Thanks very
Gary.
much for coming on.
Thank you, mate.
Really appreciate it.
Us Wyalla boys got to stick together.
Yes, yeah, finally. But look, I'm going to get in trouble for this because I was told not to say anything on exit. But please give us a thumbs up, like us on YouTube, subscribe, and help the cause. We're just trying to document all of the music industry in Perth, and we've just had some wonderful people on. So thank you for tuning in, and see you next episode. Thanks, Al.
Cheers. Thank you. See ya. Champagne left me feeling blue. Yeah, it's a big champagne that left me feeling blue. A big champagne that broke my heart in two. Give me some champagne, champagne, mellow wine. Champagne, mellow wine. Oh well, it makes me wanna feel so doggone fine. Yeah, it makes me wanna